the 9-word email is this really simple email that he figured out that works to resuscitate a dead lead, someone who's gone cold, someone who's gone unresponsive. Now, if you don't know Dean Jackson, Dean's he knows marketing and all. I don't care what the product service is. Dean can help you with marketing, but his real background comes from the real estate market. So he's the majority of people who follow Dean are going to be real estate people because that's where he lives. And so he figured out this 9-word email because there are realtors, just like all of us, who have prospects who are thinking about buying a home. They show them a home and then they're texting them, what do you think? Are you going to put an offer, not put an offer? And they ghost them. And so they figured out this 9-word email, and it was really simple. I'll show it to you here. It's the subject line is the first name of the prospect. So if I was sending this to Jeff, it would say, Jeff, are you still looking to, and you fill that section in with whatever they're looking for. Now, when Dean was showing this, I think it was, are you still looking to buy a new house? So that was 9 words or something like that, right? And that's why he called it the 9-word email, because it's only 9 words, your name. So there's no greeting, there's no, hey, how are you? There's no salutation of, hope you have a wonderful day. It's nothing like that. Just a quick, simple, are you still looking to blank, right? And Dean was saying how powerful this is and how it works and so forth. So you could see the example here, are you still looking for an IT services firm, right? So that's where we learned it. So Jeff's sitting next to me, and I don't know, Jeff, I think it was your idea. You said, well,
yeah, so I was just kind of writing some different versions of it because there was this template exactly like this.
Yeah.
And I was writing out, we were just sitting in the back of the room because you were going to be speaking in a little bit, and I'm writing out some different examples of it. I'm like, you know what? We've got a number of people. This is when we just had Producers Club and the toolkit. That was all we had of memberships. And we had about 90 people that over like a 2-3 year period had either expressed interest or applied for Producers Club, or they had gone through something that elevated them to this lead status, but they never pulled the trigger. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just kind of writing up these different versions of it. And so we're just kind of sitting in the back of the room. And this was, I remember it was on a Friday also, because it ties into the story of the response rate on this here. The first thing that I asked on this, and it's a thing that probably a lot of you are asking when you see this email, is that seems kind of corny of putting the person's name in there. And I remember when I was asking Robin of that, she said, well, Dean's kind of a smart guy, so let's just go with his formula of putting the name in there. Like, instead of putting something else in there, putting the name. And some of that is all about of where people will a lot of times click on something that has their name in it, of where there's just that curiosity and interest was Dean's angle on that of why using the name. So we sent this out, and it was something like, I don't have the exact email in front of me, but it was, are you still interested in applying for Producers Club? I hit send on it. We hop on a plane back to Nashville from Phoenix. And when I got back and landed and I pull up email, and Robin and I are getting off the plane and I pull up email, I've got like 50 responses back.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, there went my weekend.
Yeah. Well, I do remember, but you did send one small version out, because I remember sitting next to you and you're like, because I was going to go up to speak next, and you're like, hey, I'm not going to be able to sit through your session. And I said, why? And he turned your laptop, because it was sitting, and it was like all these responses. And you're like, I'm going to go back to the room and like start calling some people. There's like a shit ton of opportunity here. So that was our first experience with the 9-word email. We had no idea it was going to work that good. I mean, it just like, bam, all of a sudden. So that's the purpose of it, is to revive a few opportunities that you thought were lost. And it doesn't matter, even if they were a year ago, doesn't matter, right? And so the email should come from the person they engaged with last. And obviously, whatever it was they talked about. Now, Jeff happened to have all the people who applied for Producers Club, because one of the things I'll teach you guys is you need to have a good CRM. Now, yes, we sell it, so we have a horse in the race. You ought to use our MAP program. Yeah, because I make money. But even if you don't, you need a good CRM, because the reason Jeff was able to quickly pull up a list of, hey, for over the last 2 years, let's pull up every single person who ever showed interest in Producers Club or applied. He could pull that up and send an email out in a couple of minutes because we have it in our CRM, right? And if you don't have that kind of tracking on leads coming in, this is going to be harder to do. It's not impossible, but it's just going to be, you're going to have to do onesie twosie, right? So you're going to send the email from whoever they engaged with last, and obviously fill it in with whatever you talked about. So, just so you guys know, it doesn't have to be exactly 9 words. We just call it the 9-word email because that's what Dean called it. Do you still have any interest in buying a house, or whatever it was? The example had exactly 9 words. But it's got to follow the format. And the format basically is the subject line should be the name of the person that you're sending it to, just their first name. The other thing is, are you still looking for a new IT firm? Are you still looking to upgrade your phone system? So I'm just using some examples. It doesn't have to be exactly 9 words, but it should follow that. So the subject line is the name of the person. There's no greeting. It's a single question and your name. And don't muck with it. Okay. I'm telling you guys, it works. All right. And so, by the way, and there's an alternative use. I don't want to get you too far off this, right? But these are examples of emails you can send to a group of clients that kind of follow this exact same format to gauge interest in a new solution. So like we had a client in one of our rapid implementation workshops, and he actually was a dental supply company that was looking to build an MSP division because he was constantly getting asked for IT support and IT help and whatnot, right? Because I think in addition to supplies, he sold like the X-ray machines and the scanners and all that bullshit. So anyway, he'd get the questions like, hey, we need, our scanner's not working, or it's not integrating with our PC. Can you guys help? And so he said, the reason he signed up for our program is he wanted to figure out how to add that on to his business, right? So we came up with this idea because he had thousands of dental clients, and he was like, well, how do I even go about finding out who's interested in managed services? So I said, well, why don't we take this 9-word email and just fire it out, right? And so you can see, these are the 2 emails he tested. It was, would you be against the idea of outsourcing your IT support to us? Which is a little bit of my good friend, Chris Voss, it's using that triggering a no. So would you be against the idea of outsourcing your IT support to us? Or would you be against a competitive bid for IT support from us? And when he sent out that email, he got a 10% of his clients came back and said yes. So this is another way, like, would you be against the idea of meeting of upgrading your services to a managed service instead of break fix? You see what I mean? It's not exactly 9 words, but it's a simple, quick email that you can send out. And if you have an email broadcast service, if you're thinking, let's say you're thinking about adding on a phone system or advanced cybersecurity or compliance as a service or whatever it is, right? You can use this kind of 9-word email just to gauge interest, like a depth finder. I call it like a depth finder email. You ping it out, see what pings back. All right. So this is another use for it. There's going to be 4 primary responses. You're either going to get no response because some people still are very stingy and won't respond, right? You're going to get a not interested. Yeah, I thought it over. I'm not interested. And that's fine because, I wouldn't take them off your list entirely. It just means that, they've thought it over and they're not interested. The third is you're going to get, I'm interested, but I need more information, or I have a couple questions, or you might get, I'm still interested, but not right now, right? So you're going to get some kind of response like this. And so the ones, Jeff, talk a little bit, when you were getting those responses, like what were some of the responses and how you handled it?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of them were on there was saying, hey, no, I'm not ready right now, which was great because it puts them over into a different bucket that they're not interested right now.
Right.
There were a handful of them out of it that said, yes, I'm interested, give me a call. Mm-hmm. And I want to move forward right now. And so it was like the hottest hot leads that says just right now I got them and they're interested. There was a lot in that gray middle, which is the tell me more about this. Like they had forgotten about it. Send me more information about it. They were warm leads because they were interested. They weren't against the idea, but they weren't saying, hey, yes, absolutely, I'm interested right now. And I tend to see the same sort of thing happens with our members that are using it.
Mhm.
Is that when they send it out, of where the shortness on it almost gives like the truth serum for, and it gives the permission for someone just to say, hey, no, we've moved on. Like, we're not interested in doing that now. Or a lot of them that they get are, hey, yeah, absolutely, I've been meaning to contact you. I've been buried with some other projects at the office. Can we set up a call for next week?
Mhm.
And it just reactivates this of what you thought was dead, and not getting the whole thing about it is that when you're just sending this simple, there's no explanation around things. There's no like getting into the details and someone gets lost because they don't have time to read your email.
Yeah.
It's also that so many people, I saw this on a lot of it when we sent it, is that so many people are getting it on their phone. With this, it's really easy to do on this, reading a quick email on your phone, quick response.
Right.
It's like knock it off right away, short and simple of an email that's going to them.